Hi, Chris from My Stamp Lady, and if you don't know me, I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I have been one for almost 19 years and been stamping slightly longer than that. But I'm here today to show you a simple card, a card that you could quickly make with the beautiful U stamp set. So this stamp set comes with both of these. There's the sentiments here and then the 3 images. And I'm using this one here today and the sentiment next to it that says live, love, and live, laugh, and love. And with passion, it's got a little bit more to it. So the first thing, here's my cardstock. This cardstock is Sweet Sugar Plum. It's a half a sheet. If you're just starting, it works really well to take an 8.5 by 11 cardstock sheet and cut it in half at 5.5 inches, score it in half at 4.25 inches, and fold this. And this is the most common card maker's size for a card base. Then I've cut down my cardstock for my layers. This layer is 3 3/4 inch by 5 inches, and that will leave me some room for a mat. And so this is cut to 3 7/8 inches by 5 1/8 inch, and that gives me a narrow border around the entire piece. And then I did cut this one a little bit smaller so I have a bit more of the Sweet Sugar Plum showing through. So I'm using a stamp set today that is called a clear mount or a cling mount stamp, and it is one that you apply to these acrylic blocks, and you take them off and then you store them inside of the case like this. And what this does is it helps with storage. You don't have to have as much room because you don't have wood blocks for each image, and also it cuts down on the cost, and then you just remove them and add them back to your blocks. So I have done that, and I'm going to take my Memento black ink up this image of this woman, okay, and then I'm going to stamp her here. And because I have the acrylic block, I can see through where I'm placing that image, and that's one thing I really like about those. Now I do the Live with Passion, Laugh Out Loud, and the Love Deeply, and I'm going to do something a little bit different with this. I'm going to take a piece of washi tape, and I'm going to cover up the cursive or the script words in the Live, Love, or Live, Laugh, and Love. So I'm just going to place this along here. There we go. I'm covering that up, and that's just so I don't get ink, because I want to use a different color ink on that portion. So I've inked up in black with the Tuxedo Black. I've inked up that part. This is just scrap. Now I'm going to get rid of that. You don't want to keep it on there or you're going to get a big blob. With the brush side, I'm going to go ahead and ink up the script words. Now this can dry. It's not going to dry completely, and it's certainly not going to stay on there, but you will get a little bit of drying and it'll not stamp as well. So what's commonly done is called to give a heavy breath or a huff onto that stamp, and that will re-moisten it. And then I'll stamp that next to it, and now you can see I have the words in color and I have the definitions, or the second part, in black and white. I'm sorry, in black. Okay, so now I have my Sweet Sugar Plum, and I am going to color the dress. And what I've done with this is I've just pressed it up against the top like that, pressed some ink into the top, and with that I have an aqua painter. This is basically a paintbrush with water in the barrel, and I'm going to go in and grab some of that color and just quickly color the dress. If you get too much water going, you can kind of squeeze some out into a toweling, or just I kind of squeeze it out. I don't know if that's a word. You can see how I pressed it out with my fingers, and I'm just adding some color, and I can go in and add more color into the parts that I want a little bit darker, but I'm doing this just very quickly. Now if you get too much water, you will start to pill your paper. This is not watercolor paper. If you want to do a lot of coloring and a lot of blending, I would recommend watercolor paper, but I'm just keeping a lighter touch, and I'm just adding some dark highlights to certain areas. Now what I like about the aqua painter is that I can just take and brush that off, and now it's clean to go to my next color, which I'm doing So Saffron on the hat here. Okay, and then I'm going to do a little smoky slate around the ground. And I've already pressed these previous times, meaning that I still have some ink on the cover from times I've done that before. This is one of my favorite ways to color because you have the ink pads and then look at all those colors you get. Now this is Peekaboo Peach, and I'm going to do her skin, but I don't want it that orangey color, so I'm taking it over and I'm pulling a little bit of ink over to the side, and I made it very light, so there's not very much ink left or not very much pigment left in there, and I'm just going to add a little bit of color to the skin. So if I would have taken ink from here where it's more concentrated, I would have had a more orange colored skin. I need to grab a little more pigment though. There we go. Or a little color. And that's how I did the skin there. Okay, so this is, like I said, a very simple card. And so what I'm going to do is just take the soft sky, and the sponge comes in a full circle, but I've just cut off a little portion of it, and I'm just going to add a little bit of sky color around the edges. I'm not going to add a lot. It's going to be a very light. In fact, you know, you probably won't really notice that it's there, but the kind of the color, the accenting around the edge will make a difference in the end product. So now I have my fast fuse, and this is just a little bit of adhesive that I'm going to put on the back here. You want to do the check mark with the fast fuse. This is my favorite adhesive. I know that some people don't like it because if you don't do the check mark, you do cause a problem with getting strings or excess adhesive kind of going all over, but I really do like it. I love the way that it sticks. It is really strong, and as long as I do the check marks, I've been pretty fortunate. And the other little tip with that is, I'm going to put this down first, is that you don't put your finger up here. I know they've got the little grip thing, it looks like they should be there, but really if you don't put the pressure up here, which adds the pressure down there, you're going to have better luck. And then my very, very last little step is I've taken a clear Wink of Stella pen and I'm just brushing it over this. You can actually pick up ink from the top or the lid of your stamp pad and do this in one. I kind of like doing it this way. Then you don't get the shimmer on the inside of my ink pad, which can go into other projects. So it's in real life, I'm not sure if you can see that shimmer in there, but in real life it's really, really pretty. It adds just a subtle shimmer to that. That's my simple card, and just some black ink with a few additional colors, a few layers, and you have a card, this very simple flat card you can send out. I would add a piece of Whisper White on the inside, but you wouldn't have to. You could write right onto that Sweet Sugar Plum for a writing surface. If you have any questions, be sure to put them down in the comments, or email me at chris@mystamplady.com. And you can find the supplies for this card in my online store at shopwithmystamplady.com. Thanks a lot for watching, and be sure to come by. I'll have another video later.